Today's date is December 17th, 2024. I'm here for the oral history program for Warren County Record Center and Archives, and my name is Jacob Stickle. I am the archival assistant here. And I'm here with?
Denise Helton.
All right.
Paul Weis.
Hey, thanks for letting me come in. Alrighty, I guess we'll start off with the basics. What was your official job title?
I was a deputy sheriff.
Mm-hmm. Were you born here?
I was born in South Lebanon.
All right. Did you grow up there too?
Yeah, grew up in South Lebanon. Went off to the service and came to Lebanon when I came out of the service.
How long were you there in the service?
Just 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
What year was that?
And 1952 to 54.
Ooh, did you go over to Korea at the time?
I went to Korea, yeah.
Fair enough. And did you come back to Lebanon and live there for a long while? Or
Pardon?
South Lebanon? Did you come back to South Lebanon?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
What did you end up doing before going out to work for the sheriff's office?
I worked in a service station down here on the corner of Broadway and Warren Street.
Very, very close by then.
Sunoco station there. Walt Ludi ran it. And I worked there until, 55, 56. Before I went, a friend of mine told me that the sheriff needed help, so I applied for that job and was there 2 years. I couldn't take it any longer.
With some of the stories you mentioned earlier, I don't blame you. What did you have anything prior to that, or was it just at the gas station?
Yeah, I grew up on a farm before. I worked at Frigidaire. They laid me off, and then Uncle Sam called me, and I went to the service. Came back and went to work for Walt Ludi down there at Sunoco, and then went to the sheriff's office. I lived right across the street from Sunoco there.
Made it pretty convenient then, too.
Yeah.
What did you, when you were growing up, did you have any siblings?
Yeah, I had 2 sisters and a brother.
What were your parents like?
My dad was a carpenter, painter, and Mom was a homemaker.
Hey, I can sympathize with a painter.
Yeah.
My grandfather and father were both house painters. I might have mentioned a little bit of that earlier. Did you grow up? You grew up there as well. Can you describe the community you grew up in, South Lebanon?
South Lebanon, yeah, just a little country town. Little old country town with
That's fair.
nothing much there except homes.
How do you
and
think
a couple or 3 beer joints.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? How do you think it compares to now?
It hasn't changed a whole lot.
Not like Mason or...
No.
Fair.
It's
Except
still,
for the farm you lived on is now a gravel pit.
Yeah, it's a big hole in the ground. It was a gravel pit.
Of course, right?
Yeah. And then they built all those new houses up on the hill on the other side of South Lebanon.
Yeah, some change.
Multi-million dollar homes.
Holy cow. Man.
Yeah.
That's how time works, unfortunately. My middle school growing up was torn down recently, so I understand the idea of, it ain't fair sometimes. What did you want to be when you were a child?
I wanted to be a farmer, but that didn't work out.
If you don't mind me asking, why is that?
We didn't own a farm or anything. We just lived on a farm, and I worked for the owner of the farm. And my last year of high school, I was milking 25 head of dairy cows morning and night. And in the summertime, I farmed part of the farm to feed them. And got tired of that, being young and all that. I had to be there morning and night to take care of those cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a pain. Morning and night, I mean. Where did you go to school?
I went to grade school in South Lebanon, and then I came to Lebanon for high school.
Was it a good? Did you have a nice time?
Well, it was okay.
Okay
It
experience.
was okay.
What are some of the lifelong hobbies you picked up?
Guns.
Guns. I did see the sign coming up here.
Guns.
Uh,
I did some leather work when I was younger.
hmm.
Made a few leather items, but
Nothing quite took to you like guns did, huh?
no.
Fair enough. How has the world changed from when you were young?
Gotten worse.
Worse?
Mhm.
Oh.
Gotten worse.
Would you mind elaborating? What's your what would you what would be your key point for that by being worse?
Well, you know, everything's all screwed up now. Back in the day, you lived your life and not much went on except living, and now people are killing each other and everything else. So just turned bad to me.
Yeah, it's I feel like a lot of people are bombarded with
Yeah.
the next big shooting. I can understand that. How did you meet your spouse?
I worked down at the Texaco station down there on Main Street,
Mm.
and she went by every day on her way to work, so I just started talking to her one day, and and that's how it started.
One thing led to another.
Yeah.
Well, the next question is, do you have any children? So,
Well, yeah, she's my daughter, and I got a older son by a previous marriage, and granddaughter, and 3 great grandchildren.
congratulations! Holy cow! What would the average day be for you compared to when you were working?
Today,
Yeah, what's your average day back then? Would you say back
Oh.
when?
well, I work nights
Mm.
and weekends, nights and weekend nights,
Mm,
and drove cruiser out, run on the roads and everything. Sometimes I was in the office, manning the radio and the phone.
okay,
Yeah,
that's what they put you on, was communications a little bit.
yeah.
Fair.
Well, I was on the roads until they hired, Sheriff hired Jack Whitaker, who lived around the corner as a deputy, and they more or less put me in the office and let him take the road.
Mm.
And like I say, didn't pay all that great. Well, all 3 deputies got together and went to a commissioners meeting over in the courthouse one day, and lo and behold, they gave us a $5 a month raise.
All right. All right. What year would that have been? Late 50s?
Yeah, in the 57, I guess it was.
Mm.
Everything was different then.
Mm-hmm. What do you think led your? What encouraged you to go to the sheriff's office and become a deputy?
Well, my landlord's son-in-law was a deputy at the time. Mike Schilling was his name. And he lived in the other end of his father-in-law's house, and I lived on this end of it. So he asked me if I'd be interested, so I went up there and applied, and they hired me. And like I say, it's been a couple of years there.
Just a few.
Yeah. Just a couple.
How would you describe the jail back then? Like when you go in through the... Did you guys go in through the front door or the side door at
No,
that
we
time?
went in the side door. That was the sheriff's residence.
Gotcha.
His family lived there, so that was his private residence. We didn't go through there. I think I was only in the residence once or twice in the 2 years I was there. But he would come out in the office and do our business, and since I was on nights, I didn't bother him. Unless it was a have-to case.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you walk in through the side door, how would you describe the jail?
Well, just the office was there, like I say, they changed everything now, but you go in the door and the login desk was right there to the right of the door.
Mm-hmm.
And the desk I'm sitting in, that picture is over there at the side with the radio and the phones on it.
The one with you leaning back in it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Playing it cool, yeah.
Absolutely, right? Were you at your desk often?
Pardon?
Were you at your desk often?
Not at first. I was on the road all the time. Me and another deputy named George Carroll did the night shift. The sheriff and the chief deputy worked days. And we had a couple of special deputies that came around once in a while.
Yeah, that's how Mike Schaefer described being a special deputy. Is came up when was needed.
Yeah, George Dorcheff was a friend of George Carroll's. He was one of them, and then Carl Apker was another one. He was over there frequently. He'd ride with us sometimes and just come over and sit with us and shoot the bull.
Yeah.
But everybody called him Cracker. Cracker Apker.
What is that?
Just a nickname they gave him. I don't know.
They love their nicknames. How many people were over there at the time? At the sheriff's office. How many people?
Just the sheriff. And the head deputy was Ralph Palmer. They had, in the daytime, they had Miss Robin Hamilton run the office in the courthouse. And me and George Carroll and Mike Schilling were on nights. And then Schilling left and went up to Van Day Police Department. And that left me and George and Cracker. So that's it.
Not a lot of folk.
Yeah.
How many? I don't feel like you guys had much in the way of equipment back then, right? How many cruisers did you guys even have back
We
then?
had two.
Only the two.
Two cruisers, and that was it. Two cruisers and two deputies.
Not a whole lot.
No. But it wasn't like it is today, We contended with drunk drivers and drunks in town and all that stuff. Wasn't nobody going to pull a gun and shoot you, probably, back then, but it kept us busy. Wrecks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back at some of the other oral histories I've listened to, they've mentioned just dealing with the town drunk a couple times. What are some of the more memorable stories you have from working at the sheriff's office? If you want to get into them, you don't know.
You want him to tell that story again?
What story?
The one you told him?
The one about cleaning out
About the gun or the
Tell it.
car? The car in the garage, and sent me out there to open up the garage, let the wrecker guy
if
get
you
the Ford, which was evidence in a shooting case. And opened up the car door, and the guy's blood and guts were on the door panel. Smelled to high heaven.
Yep.
I don't even recall anything about the case. That was before I got there. But I don't know how long I'd been sitting there in that garage. But and I think it was my first accident was down on Columbia Road. The guy hit a concrete abutment on a bridge down there and turned sideways in the road and killed himself. Yeah. And then we had an airplane go down up Ridgeville here, and me and George went up there and watched over it until the authorities got there. It was a single engine training plane, and the guy went down, buried the nose of the plane up to the cockpit. He was like sitting even with the ground in the cockpit did when we got there.
No kidding. What see, you said it was late 50s. Wow. We have a lot of the Western scans online. I'd love to check that out. Everybody always likes to talk about the U.S. Army plane that went down around Mason area, but I've not heard about the training one. Holy cow!
Yeah, it was out of Wright Pat. Wright Pat. It was a single engine, like just a training plane, I guess. And then they had one go down, maybe the one you're talking about, down on, what is the road down there where Columbia Road hits 42 south of town.
Yeah.
The road goes up over the hill. What is the road?
Markey? No, not
No,
Markey.
not Markey. Just can't think. But a plane went down there and killed a horse or two. Went down in a pasture field and killed a couple of horses. I don't remember a whole much about that. But
I mean, if the pilot survived it, I mean, that's pretty substantial. I mean, if the pilot survived it, that's pretty substantial.
yeah, I think he died in that wreck too.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
shoot.
I don't remember a whole lot about it. Like I say, that's 70 years ago.
Right. What is something that people didn't know about your position or role back then as a deputy? What do you think people would have been surprised about that you did back then?
I don't know. I just did everything that was required. I don't know how you could specify. Ran traffic, worked in the office, ran the jail sometimes. Visiting day.
What was that?
Visiting day at the jail.
Visiting day, gotcha.
Yeah, people come to visit her relatives in jail, and we opened up that big door there, and there was a screen door like inside there, and they could step in there and talk. That was visitation.
Nice and simple. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I heard stories of people trying to throw packs of cigarettes in the jail through the window. You remember that?
Not really. I don't think there were bars on the windows and everything, but I guess you could. But you never saw anybody outside the jail. There was that little square welded steel around the door, so you couldn't get much through there. Maybe a pill, I guess, but then most people didn't do dope back then. So.
Right. Yeah, well, maybe it's just a story they tell each other. You never know. Did you find working with the public to be rewarding?
Yeah, I liked it, but like I say, I don't know how the other guys made it, but I was married, just me and the wife at the time, and I was having a time. The pay was so bad. Then they gave us that fabulous $5 a month raise.
Kept you on for a couple more months, huh?
Yeah. Well, since I worked nights, I took on a part-time job at Mrs. Ward's Grocery, which was down there on the corner of High Street and Mulberry Street.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for her during the day over there in the grocery store, trying to make a little extra. And we also used them. They let people order snacks and stuff from the store over there. So
Nice little switcheroo then.
Yeah.
I talked to the retiring sheriff recently, and I know there's been a history of people advocating for pay of deputies has been a big part of that. Can you speak to how much that being a pay would have helped you back then? I mean, just without taking a second job or anything like that.
Man. Like I say, I was having it rough, just me and the wife, and other guys had families. So, I don't know.
Not sure how they did it, huh?
But anyway, I got tired of doing that weekends and everything, so I just told him I was going to leave.
Just not enough pay, and
Yeah.
did it take a toll on you think?
But everybody I worked with were great. I was happy with the sheriff. Ralph Palmer, the chief deputy, he was fine. Robin was something else. She was friendly and all that. But George and I were great friends. So, yeah, like I say, Schilling left shortly after I started. So that was it.
That was it?
So you would have stayed if the pay would have been better?
I don't know that working nights and weekends all the time was kind of getting to me. So I don't know if I would have stayed or not. That's speculation, but I was tired of it.
It sounds a bit rough. I mean, especially
Yeah.
doing two jobs
Yeah.
at the same time, especially if one of them is being a deputy. Crying out loud. Are there, well, I guess you already mentioned quite a few. Is there anybody else you'd like to point out in the office that had an impact on your job there?
No,
No?
don't think so.
How's your family changed through the years past that point?
Well, my wife passed away almost 6 years ago. My kids are all grown. I got grandkids, great grandkids. And I'm retired.
Thank goodness, right? What did you do after you were the deputy at that point?
See, I went to Frigidaire. No, that was before. After I left the sheriff's. Went to work down here at the marathon station down there across from Barrel House, where Senior Flaherty is. There was a marathon service station in there. So I got a job there. He said, I probably can't pay you as well as you were making up there, but he paid me better than I made at the county. So, and then left there, and I worked out to prison for a year or so. Went to NCR 5 years, and they laid me off. And the prison, worked out to prison there.
Oh, the one near 75 now?
Yeah, the state prison out there, not Warren County, the big one on the hill.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How was that? Or NCR too? How were those jobs for you? What did you end up doing for them?
I was a block guard. Had one of the blocks. Three stories full of inmates. But I treated them well, and they liked me, so it worked out. Except one day, I'm standing there on the bottom range watching them go in their cells, or the guy might duck in somebody else's cell, so all the doors were open. So I was standing out there watching, ping, something went between my legs. It's a big old bar of, like, Feld Snap the soap.
Oh.
Somebody threw off one of the Rangers at me. I don't know who did it, but it went between my legs. And one of my porters said, "You see that, Mr. Weis?" I said, "How could I not? It went right between my legs." But, I had a pen. I had a pen to defend myself with.
If that's all you needed, right?
Yeah.
Didn't get nothing else, like a nightstick or anything like that?
No, just a pen.
Okay.
But like I say, I treated them fairly, and they were okay with me. Some of the guys, wanted to be mean to them and take away all their privileges and that, but I never felt that way about it. So
that sounds about right. There's always those people out there.
I was going hungry out there too, so I quit there and that's when I went to NCR, I guess. Yeah.
Jail, then NCR.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And, they laid me off, and in the meantime, I had a part-time job at Kroger. So I told the manager at Kroger, and he said, "Well, let me know when they officially lay you off, and I'll put you on the schedule." So I went right to work from NCR to Kroger and stocked shelves for 26 years.
26. Oh, wow.
Yeah, reaching up under those shelves. My arms were all scarred up.
Really? From the shelves? Out of all the things
You
you've done?
reach in there, and then when you pull your arm out, the back edges of those things would scrape your arm.
Oh, it was that metal that kind of
Yeah.
made to grip the cardboard and all that.
Yeah, they were all metal shelves, and they were a lip turned under there to form them. And when you come out there, the edge was kind of sharp on some of them. So, yep, but here I am, still here.
Still
You
here.
are.
Where was Kroger at then? Sorry.
I
That's what you
started
still
up there
have.
on Columbus Avenue
Okay.
where production,
I don't know why I thought it was something else.
what is that thing? Production something, where them handicapped people work.
Oh, yeah. Productions Unlimited or whatever it's called. Right up here on Columbus
By
Avenue, across from
Lulu.
the Dairy Queen, like.
By Lelou's
Yeah, by
apartments up there.
Lulu's.
Then,
That's where it used to be.
then we moved down on Main Street. I closed this store, stayed up there and worked till that store closed, and then we went down on Main Street, and now it's back up on Columbus Avenue again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But altogether, I was there 28 years, and the last couple of years I was checking the vendors in the back door on the day shift.
There we go. Finally made it to the day
Yeah.
shift, huh?
So then after I retired from there in 95, my wife kept saying I was in the way here. Why don't you go do something, get out of my way? So I went and got a job at Walmart, worked 19 more years at Walmart.
Oh,
No.
boy.
That's my life. Work, work, work.
How did you think Kroger, how did that feel? Like finally finding a job that you can stay more than 5 or 6 years at the time? You were there for quite a while.
Yeah, I was 28 years at Kroger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you only stock shelves back there, or?
The first,
Nighttime boss.
about the first 25, 26 years I did, and then I got that job checking the vendors in at the back door.
You were a night shift boss.
Well, yeah, I led the night crew
Yeah.
when I was on nights, but
You didn't just stock shelves.
well, I did stock shelves too.
Well, that's when bosses did work too. Let's just call it like it is.
So yeah, work, work, work.
Work, work, work. What'd they have you do at Walmart?
Walmart,
Yeah.
I worked grocery, beer and wine, grocery section, and it didn't look like it looks now. We kept the shelves full, and the tags were on the shelf telling you what it was and how much it was. Now everything's gone to pot there too. Tag strips in the floor, no
Well, he's
tags
not
at all. Nothing's in the right place. Nobody has the work ethic that people used to have, you know. I took pride in my job.
And
I
you-
did to my best ability to do it right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's everybody's got their own different work ethics too, and it
Yeah.
sounds like if you're at a Walmart or a Kroger, then you're gonna get a lot more younger guys too.
Yeah.
How long were you there at Walmart? You said around 95
19
is when you came in.
19 years at Walmart.
19 years. What finally got you to stop?
My wife got sick, so I quit, stay home with her.
That's good.
Well, before I left, I fell on the ice going into work one morning and busted my knee up, so I couldn't get up and down the stock shelves, so they made me a door greeter for the last couple of years I was there. And then my wife got sick, and I quit to be here with her. And, yeah, that was it.
That'll do it.
You've only really not worked for like 8 years, 8 or 9 years.
That's all things considered. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
93.
93. Good for you. Holy cow.
And a lot of it, I worked 2 jobs.
Yeah.
I had a job at NCR, and the gentleman that lived next door worked for Duff's Smorgasbord. Remember them?
I think I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, years ago. He worked for that, so he got me this part-time job. I was making little plastic signs to tell you what was on the food line in case you couldn't tell by looking at it. So I made those signs for all the stores, and I'd stay there till 8, 9 o'clock. Work days, go down there and work till 8, 9 o'clock, come home, get a little sleep, get up, go to work the next day.
Felt like you had to get up and it sounds like you always had to keep yourself moving.
But I had responsibilities. I had to take care of things, you know.
Yeah.
Now you go out and get on welfare.
Dad.
I can't help it.
I know.
Just irritates me.
That's okay. That's okay.
Just like these people today,
Dad.
the food banks and all that stuff.
Oh.
If you're too damn sorry to get out and
Dad.
work.
We can go into some of the other highlights of your time at the county if you want, or we can let's go for this one. What significant events would you say had an impact to you over your life? Oh, thank you so much.
Over my life?
I know it's a vague question, but you went through quite a bit.
Well, yeah, going to Korea was fun.
That would be a big part of it.
Yeah. Like I say, life was pretty much day to day. Wasn't all this crap going on back then.
Taking care of your family and focusing on that.
Take care of your family and survive.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Do you think the guys on MASH did it right? Did Korea justice?
I never saw a MASH hospital in Korea. I don't know where they were at, but I never saw one.
Fair. If you don't mind me asking, what did you do over there?
Well, when I went over there, I was just an infantryman, and then I got transferred to a headquarters company of the 2nd Battalion of the 2nd Infantry, and I became a communications. I ran phone lines and installed phones and stuff over there.
So did you see any? So you're mostly running phone lines, and that's logistics of what makes an army work. Then
when I got over there was near the end of the war. They signed a truce while I was over there, so it wasn't like the guys that went over there in the beginning. All of them guys suffered badly, but we did have an MLR. We had an outpost that was 3/4 of a mile out in front of the main line, and we ran lines out to that outpost, and the mountains were behind that outpost. It was like a little anthill, and then the mountains behind it, and the North Koreans sat there and lobbed shells in on them.
Right. Probably along the lines where they are today, huh? Because you're towards the end.
So they'd only leave a company out there for a week, and then they'd take them off, put another one out there because it drove you nuts.
The constant shelling?
Yeah.
It would.
And then they got stupid when they signed the truce. Came around and collected everybody's ammo. We don't want any incidents here. This thing takes effect at midnight tonight, so we don't want any incidents. So they expected me to pull guard duty with an empty rifle. No. One guy did in one of the companies. He heard the noise and called out a challenge, and burp gun right across his body.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. No way to defend himself other than his bayonet, but you're dead by then.
Did you know the man, or you just hear the story?
No, he was in one of the line companies. I didn't know him or anything, but
Goodness.
yeah.
Well, it certainly would have an impact.
That's just the way the U.S. does things.
Yeah, just hell or high water. Again, this truce signed, huh?
I'm getting off the subject here.
No worries. What would you say is one of the greatest challenges of your life? If you don't mind getting into it, it's
Greatest challenges?
yeah, it's more of a touchier spot, and you don't have to get into it if you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know. My whole life's been a challenge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own difficulties. I mean, you mentioned work at the sheriff's office dealing with the crime scene. Did you end up having to clean up that old crime scene, or just collecting evidence?
That
I
was
never did ask.
just that one old car was in, it was kept locked up for evidence, and then when the case was over, they just
they wanted to
let it go.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
I don't know how long it sat in that garage, but but it was summertime and it smelled bad. But
yeah, would you consider that a challenge, or even
Yeah.
your time at Korea? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I say, I didn't get to Korea until later things going on, so I didn't suffer like the guys did in the beginning.
Fair enough.
A fellow I knew for years, he was over there when it began, and he got trapped up there at the Chozon Reservoir.
Oh.
They got surrounded at the Chozon Reservoir, and he laid there under a dead man during the day, and at night he would get out from under that body and see if he could scrounge something to eat and stuff. He'd go back and drag that body back on top of him, and well, they finally got him out, but he's about half nuts time he got home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Is he from around here?
Yeah, he was a policeman over at Morrow, and then he went up to Greene County, up in Xenia. Later on. I kind of lost track of him, but yeah.
Man. What would you say is some of your fondest memories?
Fondest memories? I had a lot of them. The guys I knew in Korea, and the guys I knew at the sheriff's office. My daughter was born. My family. My great grandkids. As you can tell, we don't care about them, but
You mentioned him here. I think that counts. Do you still keep in touch with a lot of your guys you knew from the sheriff's office or from Korea, or as much you could?
Well, I never really got with anybody. I was too busy trying to make a living,
Yeah.
Trying to make a living for my family. I had to get out there and do it. Come out of service, and they said, "Why don't you can go draw unemployment for 8 weeks or something." So I went up to the courthouse and sat up there all one morning. They broke for lunch. We all went for lunch. Came back and sat there half the afternoon. They finally called me up there to the desk and, okay, here's your little book. You have to give 3 places where you look for a job each week. Bring this book back with you next week. I had to go back every week. And I walked out, started to get in the car, and I've got to go 3 places looking for a job. And I'm going to get $20 a week or something. I threw the book down in the gutter and got in the car and went out and found a job.
Didn't even write one down and just went, oh, well, there it is.
Yeah.
And I've been working, up until I retired.
Fair.
Can't work no more. I'm lucky to get in the car.
You seem to be getting along pretty well, moving around.
Well, everybody tells me how lucky I am to do so well, but it makes me mad because I can't do things I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it all my life, taken care of myself all my life.
Right.
It irritates me.
You're not alone there. My grandmother would say the same thing. Usually right before I leave from visiting her, she says, "Don't get old." All right. Thanks.
Yeah, my favorite saying is that guy that said life begins at 40. He surely must have died at 41.
Jeez. Do you have any stories that you and your family have passed down that you would like to tell?
Not really.
Don't look at me.
All right. Just making sure.
Yeah, just remember the family is all.
Of course.
Just remembering the family.
What would you say you're most proud of?
That I've taken care of my family like I should. That's the thing I'm most proud of.
Fair. Who would you say had the greatest influence on you? Who would you say who had the greatest influence on you as a child and as an adult?
I guess my dad. He worked all his life, and The winter, summer, rain, cold. He worked all his life, but he took care of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Was he a farmer until the day he died, or?
No, he was a carpenter and a painter. He built additions. He built a couple of houses and painted. I worked with him some of the summers when I was a kid, painting.
You did one of the churches here in town, didn't you? You and Grandpa?
Oh, well, no, Grandpa did. He just let me come to work with him one day. It was the old Catholic church. It was over on the end of Wright Avenue, or not Wright Avenue, Mechanic Street.
Yeah.
Mechanic Street and Orchard Avenue. Right now it's a vacant somebody's yard there, but that's where the Catholic church used to sit, faced on Mechanic Street, right on that corner. And then they built over here, and then they made that a school over there and built this new one.
Right across the street there.
Yeah. So, well, they don't
I thought
bother
you
me.
helped me.
It's a nice looking building, and they did send a thing out when they wanted to add the parking lot out here. If I had any objections to that being a parking lot, and heck no, keep the dandelions from blowing over in my yard. But they didn't say nothing when they built the church. They just put it up.
They didn't even wait.
Yeah.
When did you start working? We talked so much about work. I don't think we even said when you started working in your life.
Oh, I was just a kid, worked on the farm out there.
Yeah.
50 cents a day or something.
Oh man, I'm surprised they paid you at all if it was your family.
Well, we didn't own the farm, you know. We just lived in the house on the farm, and I worked for the guy that owned the place. So I cleaned out hog pens, cattle sheds, and
All that.
yeah, all that for 50 cents a day. Yeah.
How has your life turned out differently than you imagined?
I don't know. I've managed to keep things together.
You mentioned earlier that you imagined yourself being a farmer when you were growing up.
Yeah.
How did that change throughout your life?
Well, I was taking care of those cows, and the boss got into raising racehorses, so he started taking better cuts of hay and giving me the old stemmy hay. And cows don't make milk unless they got something to eat, so things like that. Just the way it was, I got irritated and didn't want to do it anymore. So I took what I had coming and left. Went to work at Frigidaire. Yeah.
And did you feel that you wanted to stay Frigidaire for as long as possible, or did you see yourself in the future differently?
I would have, but they laid me off. Laid me off well, I guess it was about 6 months before Uncle Sam called me. They laid me off. But they did call me back, but I didn't go because I was working second shift there. Didn't like that either. So. But it was a job. Paid pretty good money. So you do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do. I get that. What would you say you learned from your time working at Warren County? Working at the sheriff's office, I should say.
Yeah, it was interesting to meet people and, interact with them. You hear about people, but they're not like you heard about them, Guy may be a drunk, but he's as nice as he could be when he's sober, Yeah. Yeah, and things like that. Yeah. Guy beats his wife, but they don't tell you what his wife's acting like.
Dad.
Yeah.
Now you made that sound like you're okay with it.
Yeah.
You made that sound like you're okay with that.
No, it's not, if you can't get along, get away from each other. I don't approve of being that way, but there's no reason for it today. Back in the old days, women had a family. Where are they going to go? But now there's people out here that help everybody, even whether you need it or not. So there's no reason for a woman to stay with an abusive man in this day and age.
He's not wrong.
So, yeah, okay.
But that's a different subject.
I gotcha. What do you think you're gonna miss most about? Well, what do you miss about working for the county?
Nothing really.
Nothing really. Well, I mean that's right. That's
So
fair.
long ago, it was fun while it lasted, but
Right.
I liked the sheriff. After he lost the election, him and a friend bought the old Texaco station down there, and I was working. Yeah, where was I working? Oh, I forget where I was working somewhere. Oh, I guess it was the Chevrolet dealer as a cleanup man, and they serviced some old fellow's car. It was winter time, the doors were down, so Dick let the old man get in his car and to back it off the hoist, and he backed off and broke the sheriff's leg,
Oh.
pinned him against the door and broke his leg. So I jumped in there and went down there to relieve the guy that run the station so he could have a lunch break and things like that, and then I started working there in the evenings. And
Oh, that was right before you went to work for the sheriff's office.
no, that was after he was out of office. Him and a friend bought the old Texaco station down there.
Gotcha.
And the other guy was kind of a silent partner, so he ran the station, and I went down there to help out while he had a broken leg, and just started working in the evenings for him while I was working at the prison.
Sounds like Satterthwaite treated you pretty well then, huh?
Yeah, I liked him.
Good to hear.
He's a good guy. His kids, I liked all these kids.
Good. I believe it was Miriam's son helped out during the oral history, so.
Yeah, Dance, he's still around.
Good.
The younger boy, he died several years ago, had cancer.
Mm.
He left and went out. He was out in Washington or Oregon as a firefighter out there in the forest, and then he moved to Mexico, and he came home before he died, and he died back in Mexico. That was Richard Jr.
Man, okay.
He died young. But Vance and Susan are still around. Vance ran a lawn service out of Lebanon here for years and years.
Oh.
He finally retired and sold out and worked for the guy he sold it to.
What a way to retire.
Yeah. But I think he came to the jail opening up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they both did. They just weren't there with us.
Yeah, but
Oh, good. I guess I just missed him then. I was helping out in the mornings that day during the tours.
Yeah, were you there? I don't recall seeing you when we were there.
I was there there
One
till
of the
noon.
girls was there.
That would have been Tori with the red hair.
I don't know. One walked us through and one was at the table.
one was dark haired that talked to
Yeah.
me.
That would be Jen. Would be the
Yeah.
smaller person with the darker hair.
Yeah.
She would say something and look at him like, "Is that right?" It was cute. It was good. It would have been better had they cleaned some
Yeah, I
of
don't know
that.
how many people remember, but
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, they just left.
up there where the jail is, like I said, there was an alley went down inside the jail until they had that addition on it. But there were homes up there on High Street, and I can't remember who lived in the corner house on High Street. But then there was the old school teacher lived in the next house, and then Jack Whitaker lived there. And there were houses behind the jail facing on Orange Street there. They got rid of all of them. Did away with the alleyway and
There went Vance just now.
just ruined everything.
Mm.
And like I say, that's the only brownstone building that I know of around here.
I hope y'all can get
And
something done with it.
I hope they
Hopefully. I'd like
It's
to see it
beautiful.
now.
It's beautiful
Make it, yeah.
building.
Yeah.
It's very cool looking.
The exterior looks really nice. I know the Veterans Office wants to get back in there to do something.
Do they?
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they tear those offices off the back and try to get it back original. Wouldn't it be cool though?
Well, just
Maybe.
all they have to do is, if they want to leave that juvenile section, just tear that walkway off beside the jail that hides the whole side of the jail there. Tear that thing off and put a door on the building back there. They don't need that walkway.
He's done a little bit of everything, as you can tell. He's
Yeah.
built stuff too.
Ready to tear it down like a carpenter.
Yeah, he's like, let me go show him.
I tell you, they've just ruined everything.
Yeah, they put that
Courthouse,
addition.
ruined the courthouse. All the balusters out of the courtrooms are laying over there in the residence.
In the jail, yeah. They have it redone there, and I believe they're going to try to do a small tour there too. If you ever want to check that out.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they don't use them anymore, so why not? They're substantial buildings. Why not keep them repaired and leave them there as, you know,
A little above my pay grade.
yeah.
you know, they're all the time talking about the old town and how great it looks and that. Reclaim this stuff. I don't
He's
know.
got a point.
So that we waste money doing bike
Dad,
trails and
You're on recording.
uh,
You're recorded.
I don't care. I'm just telling the truth. Putting in bike trails and green space that nobody uses. Don't get me started.
Well, you did it.
Okay.
You did it.
I think we talked a little bit about how the jail looked. At the time that you were there, they didn't have that back space. The addition was late 60s. And where was that alleyway that you mentioned? Was that along where the side door is? Or is that along the other side?
It's right next. It went from Silver Street up to Warren Street. Went right beside the jail.
Was that where the side door was? Or was it the other side? Towards the courthouse?
No, it was on the other side.
Oh,
east,
I follow.
East side there. There was an alley went down through there, and the sheriff used to park his private car there by the side of the alley, and the alleyway went clear on through to Warren Street. And that, like I say, that old garage was out there, which belonged with the jail. And then there were houses facing on Warren Street back in the day, but they did away with all that.
You always want to add things in, throw things into the other.
Yeah,
Nature.
I think at one time there was a grocery store there on High Street years and years ago. Can't remember the name of it. There was a grocery store up there, and then Dale, what's his name? Nicholas. His family had a grocery store up on Columbus Avenue where they, next to the Dairy Queen, where they just tore that old building down up there.
Yeah,
They had a grocery store there. Yeah. Schilling, his family had a grocery store down there on Mulberry between the Golden Lamb and the old 10-cent store there. And everything's changed.
Yep. Hey, the Golden Lamb's still there.
Yeah, Golden Lamb's still there. Their parking lot back there used to have buildings in it. The Chevrolet dealer was in one of them years and years ago. Fred Can Chevrolet, where their parking lot is down there. And he moved down there along the railroad and in that building down there by the railroad. And Surge milking machines moved in there after he left. And then they moved somewhere else, I don't know. But they tore all those buildings down and made parking lots.
So that's just the way of things.
Yeah.
Is there any particular building you like to mention besides the jail? Preferably on about county buildings, maybe the courthouse or anything around that campus. But is there
Like
anything
I
else?
say, they've ruined the old courthouse too, I think. I haven't been in there in years, but ruined the courtroom anyway with the balusters over there in the jail and all that.
They did replace the baluster, but that's just the older one that's in the jail.
Yeah.
I think there's something there, but
But I never went to the courthouse that day.
Mm.
But yeah, they should try to take care of that jail though. Brownstone, or no more around here that way. Put it back like it was. Make a museum out of it.
Museum would be nice.
Yeah, it would be.
So we talked a little bit about your retirement. Is there anything else you would like to highlight about your retirement? How is it treating you so far?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good. I'm still here.
You're not thinking about going back to doing any of this telehealth work or this telework or anything like that?
Yeah. No.
Is there any advice you'd like to give to anybody listening?
No. Make your own way.
Make your own way? There's advice right there.
Make your own way.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
No? Is there anything you'd like to bring up?
No, just thank you for your time with him.
Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable. If you got anything else you want to know, like I said, you hear him, he starts scrolling with these buildings and stuff, and he knows.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. I'm pretty proud of him.
Yeah. Like down there where the police department is on Silver Street. Down there used to be a lumber yard.
Lumberyard.
Yeah. Johnson's Lumber.
Oh.
They stored their lumber over there where the bar is now, the old firehouse.
Mm-hmm.
They stored their lumber in sheds over there, and it went out of business years ago. I remember their office building was an old log building sitting on the corner of Sycamore Street there. Yeah. The firehouse down there used to be a laundry. Knew the people that ran the laundry. My wife worked down there for a while.
It's not a firehouse now. It's the bar.
They had the bar.
Or whatever that is.
You know, there's another nice thing. They bought a ladder truck. And nowhere to keep it.
Oh.
Yeah, we only have
Didn't
one
fit
tall building.
Didn't fit the building. Well, we're going to enlarge the building, one of the bays. The bank owns the land behind the building. You can't add on the back of the building.
All talk of them.
Yeah. We still on camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll end it here if you like.
Dad, you. Yeah.
Hey, if there's anything else, let me know.
It's a good thing he knows how to edit.
I'll clip it if you want. Parts of the end.
Yes.
Well, I think you'll probably have to on some of it.
Oh. Down there where at the end of Warren Street was Birchie Chevrolet. There was no top on that building there. Street level was a used car lot on top of that building.
Okay.
Down
Yeah.
by the railroad tracks?
No,
Oh.
into Warren Street
Oh,
there.
okay.
And they had cars parked on both sides for sale. And a semi driver came down through there one night, went across Broadway,
Yeah.
crossed that building, and went off the back end of it.
Holy cow.
And he was trapped in the truck begging people to shoot him. He was burning up in that truck.
Can you imagine seeing that?
Brutal. Yeah.
That'd be so sad.
Mm-hmm. Out of nowhere like that. Mm.
Yeah, it'd be sad.
Just things like that nobody seems to remember anymore. Nobody wants to remember.
Well, Dad,
it.
you've seen a lot of stuff.
Sure have.
You've been around for a lot of change.
I remember when this was a field here.
Yeah, check that out. Look, tell him what's under here.
Before they built these houses, from the road, this field slanted down like this.
Mm.
So they went down there with a bulldozer and bulldozed all this up here to bring it up to road level and built these houses on it. So if you dig down 2 inches out there, you're going to hit stones.
2 inches, that's it.
They just pushed all that stuff up here for fill.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if you ever come across a picture of that, please send it over to my daughter. I'd love to see it.
Mm.
But yeah, just things like that.
How old is this house then?
Built in the 60s, right?
60s?
This house was built in 60. I bought it in 68.
So in the 50s, this was gravel or whatever you said, rock,
It was
whatever,
a
field.
field here.
Yeah.
Wasn't no houses.
I think we have aerials from around that time.
And I thought,
top down.
I kept thinking that the Edmund brothers, a local construction outfit, built these houses, but I had new windows put in here, and the guy says, no, I know who built these houses. So it was Huber. Huber
Out of
Homes
Dayton.
out of Dayton.
Oh, yeah, I have heard of that.
Said, you want to know how I know that? I said, yeah, it'd be interesting. He said, your overhang is right on top of the windows. Said they saved 2 or 3 courses of brick by building them that way, and every house they ever built looks like that.
Isn't that fun?
Just to save a couple of bricks. Yeah. That
Well,
sounds
I
about
saved them
right.
a lot of money over the time.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I went and looked. You know, my friend lives up in Huber Heights, and hers is the same one.
Yeah. No, I know a lot of those
Isn't
houses
that
up
funny? I was like,
Mhm.
okay, that's weird.
Oh, I love that. That's always really fun to see how people just could made houses
And
into
Peach
scrap.
over here, they built his house wrong.
What do you mean wrong?
They had the plans to build a house. Well, when they built the house, the contractor put the picture window in the wrong place. Between the front door and the window were in the wrong place. So they had to tear it all out and can't even follow blueprints.
Oh, for the love of it. I'll have to keep an eye out to see if you can see how it looks back then, because I know we have older aerial shots from top
Right.
down like that from an airplane.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can find anything. You never know. Alrighty.
Monroe Road didn't exist. Only from Columbus Avenue over, it dead end up there where it dead ends today.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? Pence. Pence lived up there on a farm at the end of that road. So they made Monroe Road here and built all these houses.
Mm-hmm.
Used to end down there at where the
Swim club.
swimming club was. And then they ran it on through and built all them houses across there. Yeah,
That's-
I remember a lot of stuff.
Right. It expanded. I mean, Lebanon expanded pretty quickly too. It's Moore
yeah.
County itself from. I believe it was from 2000 to now. It was roughly 100,000 people came in, and a tremendous amount.
They can stop.
Yeah, that's a question I could have asked that I often like to get into. Is there people love the way the county looks, love the nature of it, and talk to a lot of farmers who lament that people are coming in, but they want to share the county at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
It's
we
a
won't
big
have any country out here soon. Sadly,
yeah.
we'll be meeting up with Mason before you know it.
Well, that's like farming. We had everything.
Mm.
We had hogs, we had sheep, cows, beef cattle. Nobody does that anymore. They just farm the land. Fall comes, they harvest their crop and go to Florida or somewhere for the winter.
Well, at least they're still farming a little bit.
Yeah, they're still doing their thing.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
I'll be talking to them here. I'll be talking to a
But-
few of them soon enough.
But they
Oh, are
don't,
you gonna go interview them?
they don't
Come
keep
morning.
up with the times though. Like I can understand back in the day, farmers didn't pay any licensing fees because their tractors and stuff would go from this farm over to this farm on the road. That's okay. Now they run that big old heavy equipment up and down the roads. They have no license fees, no road taxes,
Some of those
but
pieces
they
of
still,
equipment. can be
but they're
massive.
still enjoying the roads. But
Well, they pay other ways.
Mhm. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
nah, I better
No.
shut up. They'll all come take me off to jail or something.
You're doing fine. It was only an hour 5.
Like Russ keeps telling, my son keeps telling me, we're talking on the phone. You better quit saying that. They're listening.
I was like,
Now they got me on film.
Well, you keep saying it.
You keep saying. I just want to make sure it's clear as possible. It's still on. Little red dot's still going off. So, want to make sure you know.
Yeah. Are you
Alright.
done now?
I don't
Dad?
care. I'm only telling the truth.
There we go.
I'm only
Okay.
telling the truth.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me come in and talk to you. Well, this will conclude the interview then.